Hello, today I will be talking about a really big problem that I see in my community. If you ever walked around here or drove around, I'm sure that you have seen an abandoned house somewhere. Um, they can either be left from people being evicted or sometimes they catch on fire and they're just left there. They're unkept, the grass grows, and there's health concerns that come with it, which are the growing mold and asbestos that can be in them, which can not hurt. It leaks into the air and it's really bad for us to breathe in, and it's also bad for the wildlife here. I think that it would be good if these houses were removed and replaced with things such as gardens and flowers for the wildlife and playgrounds for the children here. There are many pros and cons that would come with this change. Some of the cons would be that we would have to pay for it, most likely. The city probably would not be able to cover it all. There would be construction littered everywhere, which Michigan is notorious for having construction for months at a time, I think personally. But I believe that the pros outweigh the cons, and the pros would, for example, some of the pros would be improving mental and physical health, because people get sick from breathing in the mold and stuff that comes from these houses, and if the houses aren't there, there's no mold for us to breathe in. So that's that. And abandoned houses, it's not a pretty sight, and it can affect your mental health and just make you feel negative, which isn't good. And I think that if replacing these buildings, these buildings with flowers and just nice looking things, it would really improve our city and our mental health. One thing we could replace these houses with on these unused plots of lands is parks, little playgrounds, even if it's just like a little swing set for the kids, because children having a nice, healthy, nice looking environment to grow up in is really influential to them. We could plant flowers and clover. I know there's an organization that does that after they condemn a house and remove it for the wildlife to eat. So we would be supporting wildlife in this decision, and it would overall just make the city more visually appealing if there wasn't like bad looking houses around. And with better looking cities, it's proven that more people will want to come in because they look more appealing, and that's just how humans are. We look at things that catch our eyes. And so businesses coming in and tourists, it would possibly improve the economy here. One thing is that, unfortunately, as citizens, we would not be able to conduct the demolition of the houses nor the construction for the replacements. So we would have to look for help from the city and state to do that. But fortunately, the Land Bank of Genesee County does a lot of demolitions in Genesee County, and has been a project that they've been doing. But I appreciate that, but I feel like we could be replacing them to improve the appearance of our city with the gardens and plants and playgrounds for the children. And another thing is decorative banners, which are a cost-effective thing that we could do as citizens. A lot of cities use banners. You'll see them in college cities, and they'll just be repping this college or whatever. But I think it promotes their pride as that establishment, and I think that pride is a thing that a lot of people from Flint have, and these cost-effective banners would be just a nice thing that we could use to improve the appearance of our city and kind of just show people who we are and that we're not defined by these abandoned houses that we have here. As previously mentioned, there are a couple of health concerns that come with these abandoned houses, such as asbestos and mold, which pollute the air, and we breathe that in, and that's bad. But fortunately, replacing these abandoned houses and removing them, obviously, would result in some positive effects, such as influencing us to go outside more because the environment would look nicer. Studies show that people are more likely to spend time outdoors when things are kept up to look nice. And another positive thing would be the effect on our mental health, because studies also show that our environment influences how we feel and influences our mood, and having flowers and children laughing and playing on playgrounds or would make us feel happier. Maybe might just be depressed, who knows. One thing I would like to highlight is community beauty, and that is, as you could probably think, just like how the environment looks, how the city looks, how the community looks to people around you. Having a high beauty, I guess, having lots of nice stuff in your city to make it look nicer, promotes tourism and promotes better health, as previously mentioned with the mold problems and asbestos. It promotes engagement in physical activity because it looks nice. It promotes child play, and it promotes community pride, which is something that I feel like we already have in Flint, but our area looking nicer would just make people feel better overall. As citizens, we would not be able to conduct the construction and removal of the abandoned houses, but once they are removed, something that we could do is beautification, which I'm sure you've already heard of that. A lot of high schools participate in it around springtime, but it is basically just improving the way the environment looks, planting flowers, planting trees, cleaning up garbage and litter. That's all that goes into making it beautiful and beautifying the community. We would have to seek approval from the city for this project, and we would have to recruit members to participate, obviously. I think that many high schools would be interested in helping out with this. As I previously mentioned, a lot of high schools already do beautification projects around the springtime. And another way, I think that we could get people we can get people to do this. If they're on probation, they need community service. You can clean up the city. We could plant crops in these areas if we're allowed to. I don't think we would be able to, but I think that would be good if we could plant crops. But since we can't do that, we could plant flowers. I know there is a place, some company, and when they remove, they after the houses are removed, they come and plant clover to feed the wildlife, and I think we could do that around here to feed the bunnies and squirrels and whatever. And as I previously mentioned, decorating with banners would be a good way to show our community pride, but it could also be included in this project of beautifying the city. In conclusion, the abandoned houses in Flint are a really big problem. They've been addressed a bit, but I think that the removal of them and replacing them with the previously mentioned things, such as parks and lots of flowers or whatnot, would really just improve the appearance of our city and promote good living, promote Flint youth to be more outside and be kids and grow healthily and safely.